Welcome, friends. My name is Avinash Agarwal, and I welcome all of you to another interesting episode of Konexio HighFlyers. As all of you are aware, Konexio HighFlyers is a very detailed discussion on emerging companies, from emerging sectors, and we make it a point to talk to the promoters of such companies so that our investors can get to know these companies in a much better way. We obviously, cover very important topics like what the company does, what is the company's business model, what are its future growth plans. And in this process, a lot of valuable information is exchanged by the top management team and the promoters to us. And today, friends, we've got a very interesting company which is going to hit the capital market very soon. The company's name is Aesthetik Engineers Limited. And we have the privilege of having the managing director of the company, Mr. Avinash Agarwal.
Good morning, Avinashi.
Yeah. In fact, welcome to the show, Avinash. In fact, incidentally, both of us share the same name.
Correct.
So,
Yeah.
thank you very much for sparing your valuable time. In fact, I'm pretty sure, Avinash, that in this small, interaction, we'll be able to understand your company's operations in a much better manner.
Sure.
So, Avinash, first question for today is that, if you could explain to us what is the company's business model about, what is the positioning of our company in the domestic market, and in short, if you could just tell us, something about your business journey. How did you start this business? Was it a family-owned business, or was it a first-generation effort from your side? If you could just share some thoughts on this, and we can start.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. So, yeah, we opened this company in 2008, and we are a first generation into this business right now. And we have been able to start from scratch with almost zero investment in the company. And we have been able to do good service to our customer and build on the company to the size and scale that it is today in operation. And the business model being we are mainly into facade business, the facade EPC business, where we take contracts from real estate players and infra companies like airports, railway stations, and also real estate buildings, commercial building malls, where we do the building facade work, door, windows, glazing, railings, and other architectural elements that the building is requiring. We are one of the market leaders in Eastern region, and we do projects all India basis. We have in past done executed projects in Chennai, Bombay, Delhi, Haryana, Nagpur, Ahmedabad, and all over Eastern region.
Okay, fine, understood. I think very nicely articulated, Avinaji. Avinaji, tell me one thing that in this business, since you said you started from scratch, like typically, whenever you get a new customer, I just wanted to understand, typically from the time you get the order till you execute it, what is the normal timeline? Because most of the companies, the execution is very important here whenever you get a project. So broadly, मुझे बताइए कि sir, execution normally projects के लिए कितना समय लगता है? And typically, is it 6 months or it is year, or depending on the size of the project, the timeline differs from project to project.
So right now, the kind of projects that we are doing and the scale that we are operating in, we have our projects running from anything. If it's a fast track project, it would be completed in 6 to 9 months, and if it's a little relaxed project, on average, it would take around 1.5 to 2.5 years. But on an
Okay,
average, I think a last size project would last around 1.5 years.
okay, fine. Okay, and currently the kind of projects we are doing, Avinaji, in our company, typically, what could be the timeline? Is it 6 months, 12 months, or 12 to 15 months? हमारा जो अभी करंट ऑर्डर बुक है, इसमें हम कैसे बोल सकते हैं कि हमारा जो टाइमलाइन है, जो नॉर्मल प्रोजेक्ट्स का, is it 6 months, 12 months, or slightly higher? So if you could just give us some broad
So
flavor,
basically, I would tell you that the timelines are generally customer driven. For example, we did campus for Infosys in Kolkata recently last year. That was a fast track project, and we completed that project in around 8 to 9 months. It was a large project, 8 to 9 months. There's another project, residential project, which is going on for almost 2 years now. So
Okay,
most of the timelines are customer driven. If they have urgency, we are equipped to handle their project on a faster pace. So timelines usually is not delayed from our end. We are always on time in executing our project. Rarely late, rarely delayed. Timelines we understand is customer driven in our industry.
right. No, understood. Avinaji, now a little bit about the overall industry structure and the opportunity for the facade industry. Like, many players have now come in the market. you are also approaching the capital market. Please tell us, sir, in your assessment, looking at the kind of growth, in the real estate market, construction market, obviously we keep hearing that now things have got better and better. So in that sense, what is the kind of growth opportunity for our company over the next, say, 3 to 5 years? You might be talking to a lot of clients, potential, business opportunities. So in your own words, if you could, share your thoughts, how do you see this industry growing and how will our company capitalize on this growth going forward?
So, Avinashji, organized facade industry in India today is roughly around $3 billion, and which would in all probability go up to $5 billion in by 2030. So, the opportunities are huge. Also, if you would notice the kind of residential buildings and the commercial buildings that are coming up in India, especially in eastern region, they are getting more into high segment housing. Also, the commercial buildings that are coming up with advanced facade input products, which positions us in a very nice way where we can use our expertise to handle those luxury product with ease, and can give our customer, which mostly is either a real estate player or a infra company, we give them that option of playing with new products. The architects would always consult with us. We get into the project as a partner in the project, where the architects and us share the idea freely. What should be the product that we should be using, the energy efficient building, the green buildings requirement, the sustainable options. So those are the things where we think we would be able to make a distinction for ourselves, and we would be able to grab larger chunk of the industry that we are operating in today.
Okay. Understood, Avinashji, very nicely articulated. Now tell me one thing, Avinashji, one related question to the answer which you replied earlier. Can you share with us, some marquee customer names where you all have done noticeable projects? And secondly, within your project, your customer mix, how much is private, how much is government, or is it completely private? If you could just share some, inputs on this.
Okay, so normally we don't do projects directly for the government. Even if we are doing in a government project, it is as a subcontractor, as a specialized subcontractor facade agency. Normally, government tenders comes. For example, if the airport tender is there, it is the facade is inbuilt within the civil package, where we are not a major player. So we take the facade work from agency like L&T or Sapurji or ITD and JMCs, who would be participating in that project, where we operate as a subcontractor.
Okay.
Also,
Fine,
if you asked me about some marquee names for whom we are doing
yeah.
work. So recently we had done a campus for Infosys. We are doing a Tata Realty project, a housing project, 40-story building. We are doing a lot of projects for Ambuja Realty. We are doing a lot of projects for Primark, for PS Group. We have done 4 Taj hotels in Eastern region already. In fact, 5. And
Okay.
so there are a lot of Eastern region players. Whoever is into real estate, we are present with them.
Okay. And just one related question, Avinaji, are our operations pan India or are we focusing more on the western side or the eastern side, northern side? Sir, हमारा business ज़्यादातर pan India है or are we focusing on one particular geographical area? If you could just please tell us this.
Okay, so we are a company who is based out of Eastern region. So our natural market is east. But yes, currently we are doing project in Nagpur, Haryana. If I go out of east, we are doing some projects in northeast as well. So
Okay.
mostly it is project basis outside India. But yes, we
Okay.
are predominantly targeting Eastern region.
Okay. Understood. Acha, now Avinaji, when we talk about pricing, is it a purely competitive tender based kind of approach? Like कोई customer आपके पास आता है उसको facade project के लिए लगाना है. So sir, how is the pricing decided based on the size of the project? What are the requirements in terms of specifications? Based on that, is it a customized kind of pricing which you give to the client, or is it like you got a standard package कि भाई इतना अगर जगह का facade करना है ये this is the location, this is my costing, this is the kind of margin I add, and this is the overall pricing. So how does this pricing work on a project to project basis? Do you have a full-fledged team who gets into the pricing, then gives a competitive quote? I mean, finally, how does the customer be convinced that he's getting quality at a reasonable price?
Okay. So normally, the kind of projects that we are doing, we also have facade consultants in the project hired by the builder themselves or the infra company themselves. So the BOQ comes all classified with all the technical documents and everything. There are very few projects where architect take our assistance also, where the facade consultants are not there in building up
Okay.
the right technical parameter for the project. But once the BOQs are established with the builders, they would open a tender for it, and we participate in the tender process and we get the work participating in the tender. But this being most of our work being in private sector or infra companies, it is not necessary that we get the work as L1. Quite often, we get the work on a higher price than the L1, the lowest price quoted in the market as well, because of the
Okay.
expertise that we bring to the table.
Okay. Understood. Avinaji, now since you mentioned about your expertise, a little bit about the qualitative aspects of our company, like the financials, everybody is aware. I want to understand, how do you add value to the customer? Like, if customers are happy with our work, they obviously might be giving us repeat business. So, if you can share two, three qualitative points which can tell us that you do your work in a much better way in this industry, and people come because they see value in what you deliver to them. So, if you could share two, three points for us, that would be helpful.
Okay, so basically, what we excel in is giving the project on time with quality. The expectation of the project is met. We have a large manufacturing facility of on almost 80,000 square feet land with 50,000 square feet built up area, which we are proposing. Currently, we have 25,000 square feet built up, where we have all advanced machineries, all European machineries on in which we operate, and we kind of give them the quality and service that they expect from us. Also, I think our technical team, the understanding of the product that they're delivering, also makes them very close, work very close knit with the project requirement. And normally, we don't have a very large sales team. We always get order from our existing contacts where we have delivered a project for them and they give us a repeat order. So, for as an example, I can tell you, if we did a Taj project, the second Taj project which was coming up in eastern region, we got it. The third we got it. The fourth we got it. So it is always a repeat order that we get from larger customers is what keeps us going.
I think very nice to know, Avinaji, because reference in this business is very important, and only when people
Yes.
are convinced and happy, then only they will give you repeat business. So that's very nice to hear. Avinaji, now coming to the financials, there has been a very strong performance upside in FY23 numbers. I was just seeing the numbers in terms of profits, in terms of revenue. In fact, in the financial year FY24 also numbers have been better. Broadly, like to understand what exactly was the reason for this improvement. Was it because more projects came to us, our pricing was better, volume of business was also high? So was it a combination of all this which got culminated in FY23 and which has now got sustained in FY24? If you could just briefly tell us, the reasons for this good improvement in both top line and profits.
So, Avinashi, for us as a company, the COVID times were very challenging. Most of our project got stalled or delayed. And there was also some commodity upcycle period in 2021, 22 after Ukraine war. So those periods were not very good for us. But after that period, we have made some good effort in shoring up our revenues, where we have had growth of 100% in 2022. We had a growth of 50% in 2022. We had a growth of 50% in 2024. Now we are looking up, scaling 25-30% every year from here on, so that in next 3-4 years, so that we are always on a trajectory where we can conserve our existing resources in terms of order book and in terms of the referrals that we have, and we also build on a new territory and new customers who can give us a better margins also going forward.
Okay, understood. Avinaji, now just to understand on the profitability, without giving a number, if you could just tell us that can we expect these operating margins which you have shown, can they be sustained or can they get better as your volume of projects increases? And secondly, if you could tell us, if you can share, whatever is the actual order book as of now, or maybe at least how much months of order book do you normally take? If the order book number is not available, if you can give us an idea, normally कितने महीने का order book आप लेके काम करते हो?
So Avinashji, we always have an order book of 12 to 18 months with us, and the order book is something where we keep on executing and keep on getting new projects. So, but yes, our order book is always sufficient to last next 12 to 18 months, which is a current thing also. So that is how we operate.
Okay, fine. So basically, what I can understand, please correct me if I'm wrong, the revenue visibility for the next 12 to 18 months is comfortable based on the current order book which you have got. Is it right?
Absolutely, absolutely,
Yeah.
and also that the kind of project that we are bidding in currently, we see that it will be sufficient for the kind of orders that we're expecting within this year would be sufficient for next 24 months.
Okay. 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 Now, let's talk about the forthcoming IPO, Avinaji. Like, company is hitting the capital market. If you could just tell us briefly, what is the size of the offering which we are planning to make, and what is the main objective of raising this money? If you could please tell us.
Okay, so we are planning to go into this IPO and capital market to raise around 26 crore rupees at a valuation, the company valuation of around 100 crores. And we are raising this fund primarily for extending our factory area, and we are also getting new machineries inbuilt into that, which will reduce our labor cost, which will also increase our productivity and the quality of the product that we are offering to the market right now. The automated lines that we are proposing to set up in our factory, which will increase the speed also. And we are also raising funds to meet our working capital requirement, which has gone up little higher because of the fast growth that we are exhibiting right now.
Understood. So I think very nicely mentioned. Avinaji, now since you have mentioned the working capital subject, just broadly, if you could tell us what is the broad working capital cycle in our business? From the time you get the order, you execute it. Is it a milestone-based kind of work, cash flow which you get? कि जितना काम हो गया उसके लिए money comes to you, or is it like the entire project gets over and then you are paid? Broad
No,
working capital cycle बताइए.
so it is always a milestone payment basis. We never work on a काम complete होने के बाद payment वाला concept. So we get some advance from the project whenever we take order. Roughly, it is around 10% of the project value is what we take as an advance from the customer. Once the mobilization starts, the shop drawings get approved, we take another 10%. And then there are milestone payments. Whenever we execute a certain portion of work, we realize it in form of monthly bills. But overall, our working capital cycle is around 50 to 60 days.
Okay. Okay. Fine, understood. I mean, last question, Avinaji, for today is that you mentioned about COVID in our discussion earlier, which was one of the biggest human disasters. But now, currently, in a normal kind of business, जब हम normal business की बात करते हैं, तो typically what are the major risks in our business? Like, is it execution risk, or is it raw material का अगर भाव बढ़ गया, pricing risk? What is it that actually you need to monitor optimally to ensure that you are always working functionally very well, you're generating good profitability? And how have you managed this risk so well? Like इतने सालों का experience है आपका, but typically if you could tell us that how have you managed this kind of risk optimization in our company?
So one of the biggest step that we have taken is to put up a ERP system where we have a control of our exposure to any limited project. At any point of time, we have 10 active projects and 5 dormant projects running on an average. We always set up a internal limits, how much exposure we can have to a certain project. We always keep it within a specified limit. If we do not get milestone payment, we get into that hustle where we have to take back things into control. So the smaller limits to the project has made sure that even if one project gets stuck or whatever, we don't lose out in a big way as a company overall. And even if it is delayed, we can take care. So that kind of control has helped us to mitigate any larger risks to the company's operation.
And just wanted to add one more thing, Avinaji, that in our kind of business, what is the role of execution? Like execution is most important. If the client gets the project before time, I mean, he obviously is happy, but execution risk में कभी कुछ challenges company ने face किया है?
So execution risk that we are currently facing as an industry is more about availability of labors, availability of skilled man forces. So these are some kind of risk or some kind of headwind that we are facing right now, and we would like to we are working on it so that we have a core team who is always readily available for installation process and things like that. So that is something which we are working on.
Okay. I think very nice to talk to you, Avinashji. I think it was really a nice interaction. We could understand your company in a much better way. So, sir, please accept my best wishes to you, your entire management team,
Sure.
and best wishes for
Sure.
your forthcoming IPO. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Avinashji. Thank you.